Welcome to Granbelm episode 11. Episode 10 was kind of a head fuck. Everything that we thought we knew, we really don't know. And we saw Shingetsu and Mangetsu at maybe the lowest point they've ever been in their entire point in this whole time, with Ernesta finding out that she's kind of this magical conduit that magic itself loves, and it's going to try to make her the next Princeps Mage, whether she likes it or not. And there's no way that she's going to be able to achieve her goal of removing magic from the world. And then we had Mangetsu, basically find out that she's just a nothing. She's not even a human anymore, or never was a human in the first place. And she was just created by, she's the manifestation of Ernesta's will to want to have a friend. So both characters basically got completely destroyed last episode in maybe the worst possible way. And this episode, with the surprise reappearance of Kuan's sister at the very end. And then surprisingly, she's just fine now or something. We have no idea what's going to happen. And that was a cliffhanger that we were left on last week. So without further ado, let's get started with episode 11. Just wanted to point out for a second there, this show does a really good job of using depth of field in a way that doesn't make it seem super obvious. So if we look back at that shot that was just of her cheek in the light, there was this little fringing on the left side of her face there, which looked really realistic to what you would expect to see some moonlight scattering off of a person, especially considering that when you're in less light than sunlight, not everything is completely in focus as it probably should be, because there just isn't enough light for eyes to focus. I just thought that was a really cool effect. And just the show is visually does really cool stuff that we sometimes don't notice. So I thought I'd just point that out. And again, another girl is lost in Granbelm, and another one has been scrubbed from the memories of everybody. So Mangetsu also got her memories removed from her entire family last episode, and she went home and there was another person in her place, and she kind of got freaked out by that and had to leave. And now we see that even Kuan's sister doesn't remember her name, but there's some kind of suppression instinct going on here, because just by hearing the name, she started to cry for no particular reason, which is not something you do if the name meant nothing to you. It's just that if the memory was repressed, or if the emotion is still there, it's just you can't recall what exactly it's connected to. You hear amnesia patients talk about this kind of stuff, where they kind of know people but they just don't know their name, or they're vaguely familiar with people but they can't exactly remember who you are, but they still have that emotional connection. That's what this reminds me of.
新月ちゃんは私がいない方が良かった。
That was deep as all hell. So she's she regrets having made her, and she's unable to be a human, but then she's what's the alternative? Is the alternative that I was never born at all? Is that really a superior alternative? Would you rather it be that way? Would you rather not having known me, even if I'm not able to be a complete human? That just talks about so many deep aspects of Blade Runner and all these things, where the replicants aren't really humans, but they still are alive, and they have this self-awareness, and they're able to communicate, and they like being alive. So then do you deprive them of that by not making them in the first place? Is it a half, or are they actually fully human? We just have to recognize that anything that can talk and act the way a human does should just deserve human, rights and things like that, human respect, in the way that Mangetsu is technically a magical doll, but she's actually human, and she's able to communicate and everything. And even though she's not fully human, she still deserves to be alive. And then now Shingetsu's thinking about was I wrong to think that I shouldn't have done this? If I had been a little stronger, then she wouldn't exist. Is that really what I want? It's just extremely complicated themes to be handling in such a show.
ごめんなさい。私がありもしない夢を見なければ。ごめんなさい。
Okay, since I, praise this show so much, I feel like when it does something wrong, it is also in my, it's also my responsibility to nitpick. If you've ever watched Shirobako, there's a particular couple of episodes arc in that show where they make an emotional scene with the character more emotional because the scene just wasn't working the way that it was initially drawn out. And this scene where Ernesta is running to meet Mangetsu seems like that to me. The things she's saying are so deep, but the animation they have, like one face just lasts like 4 seconds or whatever, and there's no like eye scrunching, like real ugly cry kind of moments. It's just like a very shallow, like, you know, like a superficial kind of sadness that you would expect to see. It's not like that real deep sadness that comes from like this kind of existential panic about like your whole life was maybe leading in the wrong direction. I would have liked to seen a little bit more effort put into that. That being said, you know, like the voiceover and the voice acting was great in that regard. So I can't really pick on it too much. Just want to point it out that maybe they could have spent a little bit more time like really getting that like facial expression, you know, really tuned in just right. Yo, Mangetsu, you're too good for this world. Holy crap. Her family completely forgot her. She's being erased from existence. And somehow she's still able to find like the positivity in all this, where she's able to go to this diner where literally her friends who are in her class cannot see her. But somehow she still gets something positive away from that. This is really like that full moon, new moon, like Shingetsu, Mangetsu balance. Like she always sees the world in such a positive light, which is why like she was manifested by Ernesta, because Ernesta's world was so dark at the time, and then she needed some like positive ray of light, and she literally created that. And even in this darkest moment, like literally it's the darkest moment of her entire life, she has nothing. She's still able to find some positivity in that. That's like the basis of this character that we're seeing come through in like her time of need right here, both for herself and for Ernesta, who's having like all these doubts about what she should do or who she even is at this point. But you know, Mangetsu through her like companionship is able to bring her up from that dark place. So this is the emotional music is just perfect too. Yo, I feel you, bro. I don't like heights either, especially when things are moving at speed towards something that, you know, is high and up in the air like a mountain. This cable car is like the most terrifying thing in the world, so I totally feel you on this. And as for their decision to not like prepare for Granbelm and just to enjoy what little time they have left, it feels like, you know, one of those movies where you have that final battle scene and like things are not going well and the enemy is just about to win. You know, the bombs are coming from the sky for wherever you're hiding in your little shelter, and it's just you and your like friend, and you're hiding there, and you just hold hands and then close your eyes and be like, we're not going to try to run. This is over. Might as well enjoy this last little moment we have together. That's what this little trip feels like to me. And we're getting to like the pointy end of this series. We're getting to that tip, that point where things are going extremely badly and we don't really know where things are going to end up. We have no idea. I'm 100% sure the Magio Canaris is going to pull something out of somewhere and just go absolutely nuts with some kind of crazy stuff in the next 2 episodes. That's guaranteed to happen. That's definitely going to happen. So that we get this little break before we have to go and deal with the, you know, super dark reality of this whole magic competition. I'm totally all in for that. I have no problem with that whatsoever. And that Mangetsu's still able to see the positivity in this. Shout outs to her. That Shingetsu's like, you know what? I'm just going to go with this. Let's get everybody that we've made friends with over this entire period. Let's go out with them and have some fun. This is like the darkest beach episode ever, even though it's not actually beach. You know what I mean? Like we're taking a break from the action in order to see this, but the background information is that we're all screwed. So we might as well just be doing whatever because it doesn't matter at the end of the day. The student becomes the teacher. Oh, I love this part. I love the part where someone taught somebody something but then completely forgot that they first taught them that, and that second that they even, you know, like they knew that at some point, and then it gets fed back to you and you're like, oh yeah, I'm the one who said this. And then you realize like, oh, this was true all along and I shouldn't have disregarded it. And then now she's realizing that, oh, I'm not just magic, you know, I have all these friends, and I have, you know, Mangetsu, who's like perfectly created to be my companion, and she's been, you know, beside me this whole time. So I have to just get over myself and forget about this whole like I'm the chosen princeps mage type deal and get over it. It's a great setup, and they're just cooking in a tent when this just randomly pops up. This is great. I mean, the song wasn't all that great, but, you know, like a great way to end this particular episode. Like we're talking about just the campfire song is like the cliche ending of every single camping trip that we have, but it's sung by a character who's been just out of commission for so long. Her voice actress seems a little bit weird for her character model. Like would have liked some like a more mature kind of voice, especially since she's been in a coma for 10 years. Maybe they're zigging where they should have zagged, though, because maybe they're trying to subvert expectations and make her sound really childish, even though she's a lot older than the rest of them, and she should be more mature, given that she was up to a lot of stuff before she even went into that coma in the first place. But just the voice actress for this character just seems a little off for me. But yeah, great ending to a nice little trip that we had. The only little break that we're going to get from all this Granbelm, shenanigans this whole time. What the hell? Holy moly. Well, I wasn't expecting that. Okay, show. And also, Nene just explained that this is basically like a Steins Gate choice. You can either go back to the Alpha World line and like save everyone, or you can save the one person who you like the most and use this stuff that you probably weren't supposed to do in the first place and be here with that person. This is so great. This is like catch-22. She can either use magic and save, Mangetsu, or she can use, magic to destroy all magic, but you can't do both because, Mangetsu can't exist without magic, and magic can't be gone while still having a world with Mangetsu in it. Ooh, oh, that's so just kind of sadistically painful. Dang, bro, why you gotta give Shingetsu this choice like that? Come on.
プリンセプスの魔術師にならんとする者、神のステージにようこそ。
Okay, interesting episode. This is something I said similarly in the Dr. Stone episode, but that's going to go on for 24 episodes. We're very close to the end with this. It's either 12 or 13 episodes on this one. It's getting to the point where we're slowing down in order to just build attention for that finale, so there really isn't that much to say about this particular episode, but I just want to highlight what I think is the real strength of the show. It's like this show goes out of its way to like really endear us to the characters and to make the characters like make themselves known to us, and for us to be able to understand them and their motivations, and everything that they do is motivated by some part of who they are, and they don't really do stuff just to advance the plot or anything like that. And all the stuff that they do, only serves to make us understand them more and empathize with them more and want to know them more. So when we get to this like pointy end of the show, when we're about to like make our way to like the finale where things are going to go absolutely nuts, and someone may or may not, be completely gone from this world forever, and someone may or may not even be left at the end of this when all magic is gone and everything, but the people who had their memories, completely erased from the world, maybe they'll get their memories back. We don't really know what's going to happen, right? This magic thing is going to go to the next level in the next couple of episodes, and for the show to like really just take one episode completely off and to show us like what we like about the show in the first place, which is Shingetsu, Mangetsu, Nene, Kibo, all these characters that we've come to know over just 11 short episodes, but we really feel like we've been with them for a long time, which is something that the show does better than a lot of other shows, because a lot of other shows, even shows that are geared more towards like making the main characters really endearing and fun to be around, like Carol and Tuesday, I feel like we still don't know the characters in Carol and Tuesday half as well as we know these characters, and that show is currently on episode 21, and it's probably going to go on for a lot longer, even though the main characters really aren't anywhere near as endearing as the two are in this show. And that's really what I think is the main appeal of this show, is that these two are so, like we understand who they are, what they're trying to do, and we really just want them to succeed. That's really what we've wanted for this entire time that the show has been running, and that's what the show does a really good job of, executing on every single episode, is making the characters really endearing, and just those are the standout of the show. If nothing else, if you don't like any other part of the show, I would watch it for the characters alone and maybe like the character interaction. That being said, that's episode 11. We're so close to the end here. I have no idea what's going to happen in the next couple of episodes. It's really impossible to tell. So stay tuned, I guess, for episode 12 and 13. Maybe only 12. It's moving very fast at this point to get to the end. Are we going to get 1 or 2 episodes of Final Battle? I wonder. Or maybe one Final Battle episode and one kind of wrap-up episode. I would like to see either, because I'm enjoying the show. I have enjoyed this show since the beginning. It's just been a fun show to just get a good dose of every week. That being said, that's it for me this week. Episode 11, Granbelm, a fun watch, if anything else. A little bit emotional. I'm a little bit emotional right now because this episode went straight for the feels in every possible way. So thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next video.